Today we will talk about the magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor, right? In the last day we have introduced the concept of magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor with the help of the Biot-Savart law and with the Oster's experiment. So Biot-Savart laws gives the measurement of the magnetic field at a point due to a current carrying conductor, right? And the direction of this magnetic field can be found either by the right hand screw rule or by using the vector algebra or by using right hand thumb rule. So that was the Biot-Savart law which we have discussed in our last day. Today we will discuss about the magnetic field which is happening at the center of a current carrying loop and on the axial line of the loop. Means we are trying to find out the magnetic field due to a conductor, or we can say a loop which is carrying some current. Now the conductor is, it is not a straight conductor but it is in the form of a loop. So this is the topic today. So we are going to take on the magnetic field due to a current loop. That loop which carries the current, it is called as a current loop. So we can talk about the magnetic field in two different situations as I have just discussed. First situation I will take is the finding the magnetic field due to that current loop at the center of that loop. So that is the first thing I am taking. So I am trying to find out the magnetic field at the center of the loop which is carrying some current. So here it is the situation. Suppose that we have this loop of radius small a, center O, which is carrying some current I. So this is the situation which is given. We have to find out the magnetic field due to this current carrying loop at its center. So in order to do that, we take a very small portion of this loop dl of length dl. So we have taken only very small section of this loop AB which is of length dl. So we write the expression for the magnetic field due to this length element at the center. Then Biot-Savart law says that the magnetic field dB, it is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi, which is a constant, into I dl, the current element, multiplied by cross product, of course, the unit vector along the direction of the observation point. So here it is the current carrying conductor now, and here it is the observation point where the magnetic field is to be calculated. So the position vector of this observation point with respect to this length element, it is a vector. It is a vector, means it is the radius vector. In one way you can call it to be the radius. So this is the direction along which we are taking some unit vector r cap. You can take the unit vector to be a cap also. That depends upon you. There is no difference. So I am taking the unit vector along this direction, the position of the observation point, as r cap. So according to the expression for the Biot-Savart law, so it is I dl cross r cap, the unit vector along the position vector of the observation point, divided by the distance square of the distance, which is a square. The distance of observation point from this current element dl, it is a. So that's why it is a square. So from here we understand that one vector is I dl, other vector is this. If you observe the situation carefully, you find that this angle, it is the right angle. That means the angle between the vector along dl and this unit vector, it is 90 degree. So whenever we write the magnitude of this vector product, we can write it to be mu naught upon 4 pi into I dl, the magnitude of first vector which is I dl, into the magnitude of the second vector which is a unit vector. So magnitude is 1 into sine of angle between these two, which is 90 degree, divided by a square. So this sine 90 remains 1. So from here the magnetic field in terms of its magnitude, takes the form mu naught upon 4 pi into I dl because all other terms remains 1, so it becomes upon A square. So this is the magnitude of the magnetic field at the center due to small length element of this circular current carrying loop, where I is the amount of current flowing through the loop. Okay, so let this be equation number 1. If this is the magnetic field due to small length element of the loop, then what will be the total magnetic field due to all such length elements? So total magnetic field, which we can represent with capital B, this is equal to, it is integration of all such magnetic fields over the loop, because loop is closed, so therefore we represent it to be either by writing here it is a closed loop which is giving the magnetic field, or we put a circle sign here. So this is the closed line integral of this magnetic field. So this is equal to closed line integral of, what is the value of dB? It is mu naught upon 4 pi into I dl upon A square. So this simply gives us everything which is constant. It comes out of the sign of integration, which is mu naught upon 4 pi into I, which is a constant current, upon A square, which is also constant, into, so what we are left with here, inside the integration it is closed integral of all such length elements. So all such length elements, whenever they are added up, they give rise to the circumference, right? Total length becomes equal to circumference of this current loop, so which is equal to so this total length, this term represents the length of this whole loop, which is equal to circumference. So it is 2 pi into radius, which is A here. So from here we get the expression for the magnetic field to be mu naught upon 4 pi into A cancels out with 1A, so it becomes 2 pi into I upon A, or more conveniently I write it as mu naught upon 4 pi into I upon A into 2 pi, because 2 pi represents the whole loop. So that is how we represent this magnetic field. You can also calculate this 2 pi with this, so that you can write it in a even simpler form, which is equal to mu naught I upon 2A. So it becomes in that way, but using this value of this is quite easier than writing the expression in this way. So that's why we write the expression in this way, otherwise it is the same thing. So this is the magnetic field due to a current loop at its center. There can be few special cases which we can discuss. Very first special case is that, what if we have only some section of this, some sector of this loop. For example, we have only a section which makes an angle theta at the center. So this is the situation. We may come across situations where we have only some part of this current loop which is making an angle theta at the center. So what will be the magnitude due to only this much part of the loop? So magnetic field will be only due to this length of the loop, current flowing through this length of the loop. So that means this expression is for the whole loop making an angle of 360 degree, or in radians is it 2 pi. So this is the expression for the magnetic field due to whole loop which is making an angle of 2 pi radians at the center. Now we have only this much angle which is theta. So that means this, so this angle theta makes radians which is equal to theta upon 2 pi. So this is the only part of the total loop which is now giving the magnetic field at center O. So therefore the expression for the magnetic field, this can be written as mu naught upon 4 pi into I upon A. Now it is not 2 pi radian, it is 2 pi. The value of this angle, it is now only theta upon 2 pi. Or in other way, you can say that this is nothing but the magnetic field, not due to whole loop, but only this much section, or we can say portion of the loop, which is making an angle theta. So you don't multiply it by 2 pi, which gives the total magnetic field due to whole loop. It is only this much section of the loop which is giving the magnetic field. So this is the expression in this particular case. There can also be the special case, just like if we have two concentric loops, the loop 1 and the loop 2 having common centers, and the current is flowing I1 and I2, or if the same amount of current is flowing, for example, in the two loops, the inner one is having radius A1, outer one is having radius A2, and the current is flowing in the same direction. Both coils are carrying the current in the same direction. So from here, what is the total magnetic field? It will be the magnetic field due to current flowing in inner coil plus magnetic field due to the current flowing in outer coil. So it is the B1 plus B2. Or in more simpler way, you can simply write it as mu naught upon 4 pi into I. There are something that comes common. It is I into 2 pi into 1 upon A1 plus 1 upon A2. So this is the total magnetic field. When you write the expression for the magnetic field according to this expression what we have discussed earlier, you will get something that comes common, and inside we are left with only this term. And if the currents are flowing in opposite direction, one coil is carrying the current in clockwise, other coil is carrying the current in anti-clockwise direction, so the direction of magnetic field will be different at the center. In that case, it will be represented with a minus sign here. Just like that. One which is giving higher value of magnetic field minus the magnetic field which is less. Okay, so this is the methods to find out the magnetic field due to the current carrying loop at the center. What if we are interested in finding the magnetic field at the axial line of the loop, which is passing through the center of the loop and is perpendicular to the plane of the loop? Suppose that we have a loop just like this with center O, of radius A, and this loop is carrying some current I, and there is a line passing through the center of this loop and line perpendicular to the plane of the loop just like this. And on this axial line we have a point P. We have a point P where we are interested in finding the magnetic field due to this current carrying loop. So suppose that this point P, it is lying at a distance, suppose it is x distance from the center of this loop. You can imagine the loop to be lying perpendicular to the plane of the board. So the loop is perpendicular to the plane of the board and current is flowing in this direction. You can imagine to be the loop in this way. If it is you are facing the loop just like this, the current is flowing in clockwise direction. Now I am holding this loop perpendicular to the plane of the board so that this axial line lies in the plane of the board. So that means half part of the loop is inside and half part of the loop is outside, and the current in the loop is flowing in clockwise direction. So that is the situation you can consider here. So from here, in order to find out the magnetic field at point P due to this current loop, we consider an elementary portion of this loop of length dl, just as we just did in our recent expression. So this length element what is the distance of this point P from this length element? So let it be represented by R. So it is R here, for example, it is R. Then we can write the expression for the magnetic field due to this length element, small length element at point P, which is at a distance R. So from here we understand that the magnetic field dB due to this length element, it is nothing but mu naught upon 4 pi, a constant, multiplied by I dl. This is one vector cross the unit vector along the position of the, we can say, observation point P, I dl cross R cap, divided by the distance of that point, which is R square. So we can take the unit vector along this direction, which is R cap. Now if you focus and concentrate well, then you will observe that the angle between dl and R, it will be 90 degree. This is the situation. This is the circular loop. Now it is hold perpendicular to the plane of the board. So the loop is perpendicular to the plane of the board, and this line is along this direction. So this loop, it will make an angle 90 degree with the position vector of point P. So the angle between IDL and R unit vector, it will be 90 degrees. So again from here we see that the magnitude of this magnetic field takes the form mu naught upon 4 pi into I dl upon R square. So this is equation number 1. Because the angle between both is 90 degree, so it is nothing but sin 90 means 1, so it is I dl upon R square, and the value of R cap in terms of magnitude is 1 unit. So this is the magnetic field due to this length element at point P, which is directed, suppose, along this direction. So this is dB, the magnetic field at this point. Now for every such loop, there will be an identical loop diametrically opposite. So if this is the loop on one side, then there will be a diametrically another loop which is diametrically opposite of same length, which will produce the same magnetic field at this point. The magnetic field due to first loop, it is equal to magnetic field due to second loop. The second loop we can write it as dl dash. So the magnetic field due to second loop, it will also be of same magnitude, because point P, this is symmetric to both the loops, and both are carrying the same current and of the same length. So the magnetic field due to this loop at point P, it will also be same in terms of magnitude. This you can write here. For every elementary loop, there is a loop or identical loop which is diametrically opposite, to the earlier loop. So each and every elementary loop will have an identical loop which is lying diametrically opposite, and this will give the same magnetic field at point P in terms of magnitude, and direction will be different. So let us draw this vertical line, you can call it to the z axis. This line will be parallel to the plane of the loop. This line will be parallel. So this angle is theta, because the loops are identical, so their magnetic fields will be identical. So this angle will also make an angle theta with this vertical line. You can call it to the z axis, right? So this component of magnetic field, or we can say this magnetic field, can be resolved into two components, one along the horizontal and one along the vertical. The vertical component, if we represent this to be dB, the vertical component can be written as dB cos theta, and the horizontal component can be written as dB sin theta. And similarly, this magnetic field due to the opposite diametrically opposite length element, it will be resolved into two components. Along the vertical, it will also be giving this component, so it is dB dash cos theta, and along the horizontal it is dB sin theta, dB dash sin theta. Because the magnitudes are same, so therefore they are equal. So no need to write dash here, just to differentiate. So from here we understand that the magnetic field due to the two length elements can be resolved into their components, just like this. Now these two components which are diametrically opposite to each other, in terms of magnitude they are same and direction they are opposite. So they will cancel out the effect of each other. The only components which are effective are along this direction, along the x direction, or we can say along the x axis. So that means each and every element will have only this much component of the magnetic field at point P. So therefore the magnetic field at axial line it is given by is equal to dB sin of theta. Then what will be the total magnetic field at point P due to the whole loop of all such small loops? So therefore total magnetic field, it is equal to closed integral of all such magnetic fields, which is dB sin theta. So that gives us, this is equal to closed integral of dB, which is nothing but here mu naught upon 4 pi into I dl upon r square into sin theta. So everything except dl remains constant. So from here we see that B, the magnetic field, it is nothing but mu naught upon 4 pi into I upon r square into sin theta and the closed integral of dl. So this term under the integration, it is nothing but the total length of the loop, which is the circumference of the loop. So which is written as B is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi into I upon r square into sin theta into this is nothing but 2 pi, it is A, the circumference of the loop. Now we can also substitute the value of sin theta. So from this triangle, if this angle is theta, this angle will also remain equal to theta by the geometry. Okay, so from here we have to calculate the value of r, which is the hypotenuse in this triangle OPA. For example, if we take this point as A, then the OPA, it will be a right angle triangle at this point and r will act as the hypotenuse. So from there we can write the expression for the sin theta as, so from here this magnetic field, it is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi into I into 2 pi A upon r square into sin theta, which is nothing but perpendicular upon hypotenuse. So here perpendicular is A and hypotenuse is r. So from here we can just write the magnetic field to be mu naught upon 4 pi into 2 pi A square into I upon r cube. So this is the expression for the magnetic field. But if we have to elaborate this r, then r it is hypotenuse. So this r can be written as, according to Pythagoras theorem, it is a square plus x square under root. So therefore the magnetic field, this r can be substituted here. So this magnetic field becomes mu naught upon 4 pi into, it is 2 pi A square into I upon r, it is r cube here, so it becomes a square plus x square to the power 3 by 2, because r is 1 by 2 and another power is 3 here, so it becomes 3 by 2. So this is the magnetic field due to a current loop at its axial line. If point P, it is very close to the center of this loop. If point P, it is very close to the center of the loop, then x will be very, very small in comparison to a. So x can be dropped in this equation. So therefore, one special case is that it becomes mu naught upon 4 pi into it is 2 pi a square into I upon. So because x can be dropped, so it becomes a square to the power 3 by 2. So it becomes a square into 3 by 2 power 3 by 2. So it becomes a cube here, and it is square here, so it cancels out. So we get the magnetic field to be mu naught upon 4 pi into 2 pi I upon a, which is same as we have found earlier. So this is the magnetic field due to a current loop at its center and at its any point on its axial line. So that is all for now.